hello, dear children or whoever you are. Welcome back to the Compendium of Discomfort. Today, very, very comfortable, and as you might see, I've changed a little bit about my decoration, and while I just yesterday got this beautiful thing, that's not what we are talking about today, but it's very, very good. I mean, if you follow this channel, you know that I talked about the whole series already. Yesterday I watched the making of, which is very fun, and there's another bonus feature that's basically a cooking show that I watched a little bit today, but not yet the whole thing, and my hoodie here is a little bit not so great. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about that. Maybe the best movie this might come out this year, and I would say it's I watched the two best movies so far this year last week. That's this one, and the other one would be the wonderful The Man Who Failed to Die by Seiji Tanaka, director of Demon City, which I talked about recently, and I will talk about The Man Who Failed to Die, which is an excellent, excellent movie, and if you have the chance to see it, please watch it. I had a lot of fun, and but this one is maybe even better, or at least this one had a similar effect like last year's Worlds Apart, which is a completely different movie, not even like comparable with this one, but made me feel in a very similar way. That means I left the cinema and I felt very, very good, and I met some real humans, and I was very sad because real humans aren't as wonderful as the people in this movie. But what am I even talking about? I'm talking about the Gesuidouz, I guess that's how you pronounce it, and it looks very much like this. Yes, that's Saori Izawa on a tractor. She's a farmer girl. Very good. She does it very, very well. Anyway, so this is a movie by Kenichi Ugana, who is a relatively young director. He has made some movies. He does quite a lot of movies. I have seen this included 3 so far. His 3 most famous one is called Extraneous Matters. I guess that's how it's pronounced. And the other one is Visitors. And both I think he did in a similar way, where he shot a short movie and then added more stuff to make it a feature film. And in both cases, it's very, very obvious what happened there. But they're both pretty great. Visitors especially, I liked it very much. I saw it last year in the cinema. I think the director was there. Yeah, he was there for an talk event too, and I got the pamphlet assigned and stuff. When I edit, I will probably show you a picture. I forgot to take it out, but it's a very funny slice of life zombie movie, which is very interesting. And he does a lot of really weird stuff, a lot of really weird movies, with a lot of practical effects and makeup stuff. He's very much into horror, and here this Extraneous Matters too is about aliens coming to Earth and making love with people, so tentacle and so on, and it's very fun and good. But both I liked both very much, but I didn't expect this one to be that level of amazing and wonderful. But a few words about the cast. Maybe one more thing. There are 2 people in this movie. One has a very short appearance. That's a man called Lloyd Kaufman, and in a bigger role, Rocco Zevenbergen, and Sievenbergen, I guess that's what you might pronounce it in English. Anyway, they're both from Troma, and that's I mean, Lloyd should be well-known enough person, but Rocco seems to be involved in Troma as well, and they both joined this team. Seemingly the director lived with him a while in the States, and then he was like, hey, why don't you come join my movie? You can't speak Japanese, but you will be the most Japanese person in that film. So and that guy Rocco seems to be an actual drummer, so we're talking about a music film here. The other lead actors are a lady called Natsuko. I haven't seen anything she did. I just know there's a TV show that was on TV 2 years ago, seemingly, as it's called in English, Don't Waste Your Time, Lovers. I just noticed that it exists, but I have no idea if it's good or not. Then we have a guy called Leo, who seems to be a professional musician, not an actor. And then we have Yutaka-kyan, a very, very weird individual, because he's a member of the group Golden Bomber. And Golden Bomber are very, very fun, but it's not a real band. I think he's the guitar player in Golden Bomber, maybe, but he can't play guitar. And the only person in Golden Bomber who can actually play instruments is the vocalist, and he does all the music, and everyone else is just performing, and he's the boss of the performance department in the band, as far as I understand. But Golden Bomber are very, very funny, or at least they were like 20 years ago. I haven't checked on them since then, but very entertaining people, and he's very entertaining in this one as well. Then we have some real actors, for example, Yuya Endo, who was in Onoda and these two movies by Mr. Yamazaki, Godzilla Minus One, the fighter pilot. And he was in Faceless, so he made some very bad choices, he was in some good stuff as well, like a High and Low. I should finally catch up with that stuff. Like I mentioned, there's Hori Izawa, a small role. We have a guy called Rintaro Mizusawa, who did some movies that I don't really know. And here Ryo Ichinose, who was in Baby Assassins Every Day. Showed you before. And we have Takumi Saito as the voice of a dog. Cool. You might know him from Shin Godzilla or Certain Assassins or Shin Kamen Rider, Shin Ultraman, or the Cube remake. Why not? And we have Makita Sports, a pretty cool, fun guy who does a lot of comedy stuff here as the voice of a cassette tape. Why not? And like I mentioned, Lloyd Kaufman. Anyway, a lot of people. And I thought this would be good because it's a Kenichi Ugana movie. It's a movie about a band, and that's usually enough for me to be happy. But this was exceptionally great. So what is it about? It's about this band that's in Tokyo, and they have a record deal, but their records don't sell, and we see them play live, which is, let's say, noise. Not very enjoyable for most people, but they have one loyal fan who stays with them the whole time without even being really acknowledged by them. But they're very unhappy with the situation. They're very unhappy with everything as a whole city life, and the pressure of having jobs and stuff is not good for them. So they're having a really, really bad time. And when we meet the vocalist first, she's celebrating her birthday by writing a note on a piece of paper, sticking it on a piece of cake, and just eating the piece of cake completely with the paper and stuff. So she's very animalistic going on here. And she's 26, and she knows, because that's what happens to musical geniuses. At 27 you die, like Kurt Cobain and the famous Club 27 people. I would say there are more musical geniuses who didn't die at the age of 27 than those who actually died at 27. But yeah, she believes she's a musical genius and will die at 27. And so she has one more year to live, and they get asked to come to the record company, and the producer guy is not very happy and very dissatisfied. But she's like, hey, I've got 1 year left to live. Let's do stuff. And then he sends them to the countryside because people can get money if they live there, because nobody wants to live in the Japanese countryside. So they're happy to go there. They get a big house where they can play. There's a nice grandma who gives them a dog, who's voiced by Takumi Saito. And she somehow enjoys listening to their music and makes them play for cows and stuff like that, and gives them some vegetables. And just the scene when they get some vegetables just as a present, they look so happy, and it's unbelievable how touching a simple scene of giving people vegetables can be. It's wonderful. Anyway, so from then on, they live in the countryside, and they somehow become good musicians, like magically. And it's all very moving and touching, and it's wonderful. So what I like about this movie so much, of course, it's a movie about a very strange punk band consisting of very strange individuals, and I think there's just a lot of stuff that speaks to me. I don't know what it says to me if I feel like these people in this movie are more human and relatable than most other movie characters, because they behave in many scenes more like animalistic. So but this whole thing, maybe you somehow, it sounds very mean, but I mean that in the best possible way. Probably you have seen some TV documentary or something where animals in captivity being brought into nature for the first time, and they just let them free and enjoy the world for the first time. And that's the same you can see with this band. It's very obvious. There's some like genres in Japanese cinema that I think are very fun. One, of course, is the Gambado movie. You can do everything if you just believe in yourself, and that's like the core of all like artist or sports movie or just going to school movie. Japan has a lot of movies that are just about kids wanting to go to a school and then studying really hard. I don't know if it's actually that many, but I've seen some at least. Anyway, so that's the thing. Like, we can do everything if we just try hard enough, and that applies here too. Then we've got, of course, the Inaka propaganda movie, which is this typical countryside is better than the city, and it usually goes similar to here. Like, people who fail in the city go to the countryside and somehow learn that it's actually better there, at least for them, and they can have a very fulfilling life. Woodjob comes to mind, a very lovable comedy about a guy who becomes someone who cuts down trees. What is it called in English? A woodsman? I have no idea. Anyway, so and for the school entrance movies, high school or university entrance, I think there was a movie called Flying Colors that was all about studying to go to a university. Must have been was pretty good, I think. as far as I remember, I watched it years ago, and it's the Nippon Connection. Wonderful festival. I hope they play this movie too next year. They should, if they have some good taste, and usually they have very good taste. So shows this. I mean, they showed at least extraneous matter before, so maybe it's gonna be there, and some other festivals maybe too. It should be. If you're somehow involved in a festival, you want to show this movie, yeah, you want to show it. Anyway, so yeah, so it has a lot of this Inaka propaganda movie. Like, hey, countryside is the best, you can be happy here, and it has a slight flavor of this early Tsukamoto thing, where like the big city takes away all the humanity from the people that we see, like for example in Tetsu or Tokyo Fist, something like that. Here, as like I said, as long as they're in the city, they're like completely out of control, crazy, and the music sounds the same. And yeah, once they go to the countryside, they are somehow free and relaxed, and they can just roll around on the floor if they want to, and enjoy actually good food, which is maybe good for humans. Yeah, and yeah, they can just be themselves, and yeah, of course there's this message like, hey, you can play music, isn't that good enough? Why do you have to do to be able to do anything else? That's no, that's the thing you can do, so enjoy that. So it's very much this yeah, society is forcing people to be something they aren't. The wonderful Blake Simons called it the neurodivergent film of the year, and I guess that's pretty much on the spot here. So that's very, very great, and yeah, sometimes I just feel like I can't handle society, and yeah, I just want to be an animal playing in the wild, not having any obligations towards society. I mean, I don't struggle as badly as they do, but yeah, I can sometimes, I guess many people can relate to that issue in general. Like, there's so many things that society demands us to do or to be in a way that we aren't. I mean, just this whole concept of the day starts early, you gotta go to work at 10, at 8 or something. Yeah, that's not for everyone. And yeah, this movie makes a clear point of just let people do what they can do, let them be happy. And yeah, that's something that speaks to me very much. And this whole band theme and the whole creative process that's being shown here, it's hilarious how they write songs. So basically the whole band is in a room, the singer is just going crazy, and at some point she says something that doesn't make any sense to anyone, but one member of her band who goes, oh, I understand this, and starts to play. No? They get a close-up and they start to play, and then she starts thinking again, and this person keeps playing, maybe guitar, play, endless loop, and at some point she says something different, and another band member will have inspiration, and so on, and yeah, they just keep building songs from there, and that's pretty great. And she's writing her lyrics like in calligraphy and ripping it apart, which the director seemingly has from Nirvana, so Kurt Cobain. Yeah, and the whole movie seems to be quite inspired by the Leningrad Cowboys, which the movie I haven't seen, that maybe I should. Sounds good to me. Anyway, so yeah, so they puzzle these songs together, just endless loop, and then next inspiration, endless loop, next inspiration. Usually everything like horror film related. Sometimes the dog says something inspiring to her, and at the end she has the complete like brain escalation, mind-blowing revelation, starts to spit some goo and weird body horror cassette tapes that starts talking. And it's very funny. While the dog seemingly speaks only to her, the cassettes talk to everyone. It's suddenly a completely normal thing. Once the dog starts to talk, the movie goes in a completely weird horror world, fantasy setting with grotesque things that just happen, and everybody is totally fine with it, which is amazing. Like when they go back to their producer to play him their new song, which is included on this lovely CD. Unluckily, only one song. I would have preferred to have two songs, two pretty good songs that they play. Anyway, so yeah, he just discusses with the tape, and the tape insults him and stuff like that. And he just pushes it into the cassette player and listens to the song. Yeah, that's great. And so slowly he starts to understand the band too, I guess. I mean, of course, they suddenly make some money for him, so that's good. But yeah, so he finds a bit of his more humanistic mindset too. So that's very nice. And yeah, this success thing is very funny too, because usually in a movie like that, the band suddenly has success and everything breaks apart. And here, yeah, after they have some success, something bad happens. There needs to be something bad, but it doesn't really change all that much. They still play concerts for cows or 3 people, and they still live in the countryside and just have their creative process going on. It's really lovely and cute. And what speaks to me very much about this creative process is that I used to play in a band. And we never really did covers because I hate covers. I mean, there's a place for covers, but I really don't just like playing other people's music. Just for me, just for practice, I prefer to play my own stuff, even though it might not be as good because I'm not a genius songwriter. Who would have guessed? But usually it was very similar, like we met, I said, oh, I've got this guitar riff. So our bass player said, oh, I've got this bass line that doesn't theoretically match, but somehow we feel it matches. So why not just put it together and call it a song? And that's what we did. And it was messy and dirty, and we just repeated and changed and did. And yeah, so that speaks to me like very much and makes me very happy and warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Stuff like that. And yeah, the music here was written by a guy that's called Ugana, who I think was involved in some Baby Assassin soundtrack as well. This is, by the way, the same production company, Rights Cube, so why not? And he's one of the very well-established, long-working punk singers. Used to be in a band called the Mad Capsule Markets that are really, really good and really, really great. And they were basically a 2-man band. There's a drummer, but I think the drummer sometimes changed. So essential were the vocalist, guitar player, of course, too, but the guitar player changed sometimes. So these are the main 2 people were the vocalist and the bass player slash vocalist. And after the band broke up, these two started their solo careers. Basically, the bass player formed a band called AA Equal, so all animals are equal, like here Animal Farm. Terrible name because you can't Google it because it's literally A and equal. I mean, for computer purposes, sometimes spelled out as equal, but not very useful name, but still very good band. And the singer here, Kyono, first had a project was called a Wack Duck Futuristic Unit or something that was, for my taste, a bit too electronic. And then he started to do his official, under his own name, his solo stuff, which is much better for me. And yeah, it's a very recognizable style. Guitars and songs, the way he writes songs is very clearly his style. Maybe for many people not the most exciting because it's punk and there's not the huge variation, and he tends to use a lot of like vocal effects. So I don't know, he's maybe not the most expressive vocalist, but it works really well. And when he has a good song, it's really, really good. And I think the songs he wrote for this one are really, really good. So it works very well with this female voice on top of it. So very nice, very lovely, very good music. Funnily enough, the Golden Bomber guy, who's not used to actually play, had to play for the movie because they actually played the stuff and just filmed it. He thought, oh yeah, we can just like overdub it, but no, he had to play it, and that's usually not part of his job as a live musician. This is hilarious. Wonderful. Yeah, so these things all, like this whole process, how they make their music and how it suddenly turns into a band because they're now in freedom and don't really have to care about regular jobs. And yeah, the bass guy, the Golden Bomber guy, falls in love with Saori Izawa. I mean, who wouldn't? No, and there's some minor complications, and it's just one other very funny thing. I said they act a little bit like animals. Most of the band don't really talk all that much. Usually it's the vocalist who talks. The guitar player is most of the time busy being addicted to ohagi, which is like rice balls with some red bean paste around it. Very funny. The director said, like for him, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll is a thing that's like always connected. But having drugs in Japan isn't really realistic because the laws are so strict, and smoking gives a nice effect. But yeah, we can just get it from the cooking. There's a lot of cooking here too, and all these things. So he thought, oh, why not just make this guy addicted to really, really typical Japanese sweets? And I understand his feeling completely. Like, how can you not be addicted to that stuff? It's hilarious. It's wonderful. Or he takes a bath and is very busy. Like, imagine this punk guy who suddenly wants the rubber ducks to sit properly in the bathtub. It's so cute. Like all these small details that happen in the background. Like every time there was a scene just of the room, of the people playing or doing stuff, there's some weird detail going on. Like this neighborhood grandma sleeping in the corner, or yeah, I think the bass player at one point has like a wooden hand to move. I forgot. There's so much weird little stuff going on. It's hilarious. I want to watch it again just to see all the details. A lot of it seems to be improvised, which doesn't surprise me at all. So it's all very weird and charming. in the pamphlet, the director talked about the different approaches for the characters. For example, the guy who played the guitar player, Leo, he just did what he was told and added some like real musician stuff, like giving the audience the middle finger or stuff like that. So he was basically just this. The Golden Bomber guy just tried to be weirder and weirder and weirder in every scene, and he just tried to make him go crazy or something. Oh no, don't do that. So he tried to some influential to influence him in some way, but basically he was just going crazy. And the lady who played the vocalist, Natsuko, is her name. She didn't really know how to approach this role, so she just tried a little bit. The director was like, yeah, let's go with that. And then she had this cake scene that I mentioned before and just went with it and played it really weird and eccentric, I would say. And what was his name? Rocco? He doesn't speak Japanese, so he had to learn all his lines, and he speaks really polite, nice, wonderful Japanese, and he's the most Japanese the most Japanese person in the movie, cooking all the food, very carefully, speaks, like I said, very politely, is very calm, doesn't really seem like a punk, but more like a really, really nice dude. And at some point they find, because they take over this house that belonged to some old people who passed away, so they basically find all their old stuff. So at some point they find a lot of kimonos that they wear from there on, not just for their shows, but for just daily life, sitting at home in kimono and feeling good. This is wonderful. It's all so cute and heartwarming and just perfect how these people interact. Even when they sleep, like the three guys are always in the same pose, moving at the same time. It's just all so cute and nice. And when they go back to become more famous, there's this one scene where they have to suddenly interact with normal people, with common folks, because they're suddenly in a TV show. The host can't handle that at all, how weird they behave, and starts to yell at them, and of course then they fight back and get in a little bit of trouble, but so it's very, very relatable, like just these people, this conflict of them being who they are with people who don't get it, and those people usually believe to be normal. And then of course on top of the thing that suddenly these strange people are successful, and big conflict, I would say, like society can't handle this, and it's okay, they don't need to handle this. That's the point of punk, and they don't need to fit in, and that's the appeal. But even that seemingly some people don't understand. I don't know, where do I want to go with this monologue? Just all so good, like every scene in this. Like at the beginning I thought maybe how she celebrates her birthday is a bit over the top, a bit too strange, but it all makes sense in the end when we get to this realization that they just need to be free in the countryside and be treated like humans, not in tiny rooms somewhere in the city, being insulted by their co-workers because they don't function the same way. So it suddenly makes sense. They find their humanity, and become great musicians, and maybe die when they are 27 because they're musical geniuses. Who knows? No spoiler here. It's just all so good, in a weird way, relatable, even though, I hope I'm not that that far off society that would cause a lot of trouble for me. But I can understand it to a certain degree. And just these scenes when people treat them with respect and, like I said, give them some vegetables, or there's this roadside shop where they just put the vegetables and people can take them and pay some money. They start putting in a CD, like, hey, you can buy the CD, and suddenly they start selling these CDs quite well, actually. These scenes are just so much more real, even though totally over the top at some, everything around it is totally over the top, but these scenes are just so real and human and heartwarming that's just so much better than every trashy tear-jerking drama that gets nominated for I don't know how many Oscars, because they try so hard to move you. It's so simple. Just show humans being treated with respect, and show them being happy about it, about not being treated like trash, and it works. So now it's just also wonderful and brilliant. And then the whole climax, which is just a concert for cows, is so amazing. It's so good. It's well filmed. It looks amazing. They do like the whole show with costumes and everything. They basically present their new selves, and it's just fantastic. And it's hilariously funny. Like, half the movie I was giggling like crazy. The other half I was crying like crazy, because it's also moving. And it's just like a really, 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 really wonderful movie. Like I said, wonderful to a degree that I didn't expect from Mr. Ugana. Maybe I should watch more of his movies. I still have some available that I can watch. And I should do that, I guess. It's fantastic. It's amazing. Maybe, I don't know what's coming this year. So there's some more very, very wonderful looking movies soon. For example, this one, Nemuru Baka, the new Yugo Sakamoto movie, starting tomorrow, actually. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm still reading the manga. Hope I can finish it before I go to the cinema. But anyway, so there's a lot of good stuff coming, I think. But I would be surprised if there's anything else coming this year that makes me emotionally so, like, no. I literally left the cinema, and for the next hour, 2 or 3, I was just completely mentally gone and obsessed with this movie, and it's just so good. It's so good. Yeah. So I hope Mr. Ugana has a few more like that coming. Please, if he has more of that caliber, I hope he has a very gorgeous, great career as a director of amazing movies. And I guess that's all I have to say today. It's enough. I can just repeat myself. It's a wonderful, lovely movie, at least here in Osaka, seemingly not that super popular. So when I went, was near the end of its time in my local cinema. So not so many people, but in Tokyo seemingly it's still quite often sold out. I mean, they have a lot of like talk events and stuff, and it's gonna play in Kobe next month, so I guess I will go to Kobe to see it again. And yeah, I hope there's some home release. I wouldn't mind a Western release. Yeah, if it's on any festival you might go to, I hope it's there. Yeah, just watch it if you have the chance. It's fantastic, wonderful. But I think his last movie, Visitors, got released in the West. So why not this one? Please, someone. Yeah, I guess Rights Cube is now pretty much interested in selling their stuff abroad with Baby Assassins and that movie. That's coming soon too. Here, a Ghost Killer. Yeah. Looks amazing too. So yeah, good stuff coming. Watch it if you can. I'm done. Thank you very much. See you. Bye.